There aren't many people who warrant having a year dedicated to them, but Frederick Douglass is certainly one of them. It's been 200 years since his birth, and his contributions are no less valuable today. The Rochester Contemporary Art Center brought together a diverse group of artists to commemorate his legacy. Take a look.
This exhibition, No Soil Better, Art and the Living Legacy of Frederick Douglass, brings together 11 artists from Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, and New York City. All the artists have made new works inspired by Douglass, inspired by his legacy, and in some cases inspired directly by the Stanley Edwards Monument to Douglass. Stanley Edwards Monument to Douglass is so incredible and significant because it's the first monument of an African American in the country. Very few Rochesterians know that. So that was part of our motivation with this exhibition, to look at the monument, which is a commanding, incredible, powerful sculpture, and certainly one of Rochester's most important works of art. But it also has inspired the artists in this exhibition, today's artists, to make new works and contemporary monuments dedicated to Douglass around his 200th birthday.
There's a collection of fantastic artists, and we've been brought here to speak upon the topic of no better soil. How do we find our connection to Frederick Douglass with spending 25 years of his life here in Rochester and calling it home? And how do we find our connection to the sculpture or the statue of Douglass as well? What would Douglass say today? What does his presence mean today? What would his words be today? If we looked at the situations that are happening across the country and across the globe, what would be his perspective or his take as a great orator and as an activist and as an artist?
When the opportunity came up to engage with today's artists and a number of regional artists specifically to look at Douglass, have them and support them in making new artworks, I was thrilled. Sean Dunwoody has a long history of engaging with Douglass's legacy as an artist and as an actor. For this exhibition, he made a new painting called World Star, and the piece draws upon Douglass's life and his first act, or most grand act perhaps, of resisting enslavement.
I thought about what I really wanted to do, what did I want to capture. So at first I kicked around a lot of ideas of what I wanted it, what I thought it would be, and I thought about pose and position, stature, and about presence and what that means, and actually connect that in some way, shape, or form to the sculpture itself. There's a point that I find in Douglass's life where he found his stance, where he found his stature, where he found his position. And that was when he was actually in a fight with slave breaker Covey. And I went back to that one point when he realized, I am a man. He said to himself, I have that spirit about me. And as we use the hashtag resist, he was asked by the slave breaker Covey, are you going to resist? And he said, yes, I am. So there's no need to ask what would Douglass say today. He already said it. I want to show that his stance, his stature, his position, how he stood at the age of 16 against his slave breaker is the stance, the position that we should take today as concerned citizens, individuals, and change agents in our community.
What do our regional and national artists have to say about his legacy? That's really what this exhibition is all about. It's about updating that history and making it fresh and considering it through the lens of today.
For more information, visit rochestercontemporary.org. The exhibit will be on display until March 18th.